They don't ask what you need at $0. Not because they don't love you, not because they are inherently malicious or cruel, because at $0, you look like a liability. You look like a problem that hasn't asked for money yet, but eventually, inevitably, will. That is the quiet, heavy friction of family gatherings. The subtle shift in the room when the conversation turns to careers, houses, or future plans, and your uncle's eyes slide completely past you to look at your cousin instead. You are family, always family, but you are background noise at the dinner table. You are the guy whose name is omitted from the important discussions because your financial reality means you have no skin in the game. This is not a bitter rant. This is not a hate video designed to make you cut your relatives off or harbor deep, toxic resentments. This is a clean, cold, honest mapping of exactly how familial dynamics, expectations, and behaviors shift at every single tier of wealth from absolute zero to over $1 million. The patterns do not change across borders, cultures, or family trees. They run on the exact same mechanical human psychology every time, without exception. If you are watching this channel for the first time because you are quietly building something your immediate environment doesn't understand yet, subscribe before we go any further. This channel does not trade in motivation or emotional reassurance. It trades in mechanics, the raw, unvarnished math behind human relationships and money. Let's go level by level. At $0, you receive advice. Endless, unprompted, structural advice on how to live your life. Everyone in your bloodline suddenly becomes a master strategist for your future. They tell you which entry-level jobs to apply for, how to fix your morning routine, and why your business ideas or modern career choices are far too risky. The advice is always wrapped in thick layers of affection and parental concern, but the psychological subtext is heavy and constant. You do not know how to manage your life, so we must manage it for you. Because you have no resources, you are assumed to have no wisdom. When you speak about your ambitions at this stage, you get the polite, patronizing nod. But that's nice. But have you looked into a stable government job or a corporate desk? Response: your text messages in the family group chat sit completely unanswered for 9 hours, while your wealthy aunt's photos from her casual weekend vacation get 30 immediate replies within minutes. You are invited to every family event, but you are never once consulted on the logistics, the venue, or the timing. You eat what is ordered for you. You sit where there is an empty room. You are an afterthought in the structural hierarchy of the family ecosystem. The women in your family worry about your survival. The men quietly pity your lack of momentum. It is a soft, suffocating reality, and it is precisely the weight that drives men to build. At this baseline level, your presence requires zero accommodation from anyone else. If a family gathering is being planned, nobody checks your schedule to see if you are free. They assume you are free because, in their minds, an empty bank account equates to an empty schedule. If you express exhaustion or stress, it is dismissed because you haven't earned the right to be tired through visible financial output. You are operating entirely on the lowest frequency of familial respect. You are loved, yes, but you are completely invisible as an authority figure. The boundaries you try to set are walked over without a second thought because boundaries require leverage to maintain, and at $0, your leverage is non-existent. You land the job, you clear the entry-level hurdle, the direct deposits become consistent, and your net worth touches $30,000. Something minor but distinctly structural shifts in the family dynamic. The unprompted, daily advice slows down to a crawl. They stop texting you random, low-paying job listings on WhatsApp. Why? Because you have proven you can sustain your own physical mass. You are no longer a potential financial emergency waiting to rupture their peace of mind. At family dinners, they now ask you how the work is going. And for the first time, they actually wait for the answer instead of cutting you off mid-sentence. You are no longer just living room furniture. You are a functioning, self-directed adult. But here is the massive psychological trap that swallows men whole at this specific level. You feel this tiny elevation in treatment and you genuinely think you have earned their deep respect. You haven't. You have merely earned their relief. You are stable, which means you are officially off their conscience and off their worry list. The conversations you have with elders are still safe, surface level, and incredibly small. They don't ask for your perspective on major family decisions, like selling an old family property or managing a relative's health crisis. Your cousin who makes triple your salary is still held up as the gold standard of success. You have simply crossed the line from being a liability to being a neutral observer. It is an incredibly comfortable place to exist, and precisely because it is comfortable, most men lose their competitive edge and stop running right here. They mistake the cessation of pity for the arrival of honor. Furthermore, at $30,000, you enter the zone of basic compliance. You are now expected to pay your own way entirely, which is fair, but you also notice that your small financial milestones are met with lukewarm enthusiasm. When you buy a mid-tier used car or move into a slightly better apartment, the praise is measured. It's practical, they say. They approve of your moderation because it keeps you safely within the bracket they have assigned to you. The moment you try to spend outside that modest bracket, the old advice mechanism threatens to turn back on. They want you safe, but they do not yet expect you to be exceptional. Now, the balance hits 6 figures. $100,000. This is the exact watershed level where the behavior shifts from passive relief to active, conscious notice. The family begins to recognize your upward trajectory as a permanent trend rather than a temporary stroke of luck. The specific way your parents talk about you to the neighbors or extended relatives changes dramatically. Your name is polished before it is spoken. You become the shining example used in intense arguments with your younger siblings or cousins. Look at what your brother did through pure focus. The actual physical dynamic at the dinner table alters. When a complex financial topic arises, interest rates, real estate investments, inflation, or tax structures, they look at you. They stop talking over you. They ask your opinion. Your elder uncle stops lecturing you on life and starts debating you as a peer. But something else arrives at $100,000 that absolutely nobody warns you about. Expectations materialize out of the thin air. It is unspoken, ambient, and immediate. When the bill arrives at a casual family dinner, there is a tiny, fractional pause of 3 seconds before anyone reaches for it. The eyes around the table quietly calculate who has the highest capacity to absorb the cost. You are suddenly expected to buy significantly nicer, more expensive gifts for birthdays and anniversaries. You are expected to contribute a larger percentage to the family holiday fund or your parents' medical expenses. It is never demanded loudly or aggressively. It is simply assumed as a baseline moral duty. If you don't step up and fulfill these unwritten expectations, a cool, quiet undercurrent develops. They don't call you broke anymore. They call you selfish. They don't call you a liability. They call you distant and elite. This level introduces the friction of comparison. Because you are now visibly succeeding, the relatives who started at the same line as you begin to track your movements with a microscopic lens. They notice the brands you wear, the hours you work, and the tone of your voice. If you speak too softly, they assume you are hiding your wealth. If you speak too loudly, they assume success has made you arrogant. You are no longer allowed to just exist. Your lifestyle has become a public mirror for the rest of the family's financial choices. At $250,000, the family split becomes starkly visible. Your family is no longer treated as a monolithic, unified unit of unconditional love. It separates cleanly into two distinct psychological camps: those who are genuinely proud of your ascent and those who are deeply, structurally inconvenienced by your success. The proud ones, usually your immediate parents or a sibling who possesses their own internal security, start actively protecting you. They tell you to stop spending money on them. They worry about how hard you are working to maintain that level. The second group, the extended circle of aunts, uncles, and cousins who have plateaued in their own lives, begins to practice the art of the micro-slight. They masterfully bring up your past teenage failures or childhood embarrassments under the guise of warm nostalgia. Remember when you couldn't even afford to fix the exhaust on your broken car? They laugh loudly, but the laughter is sharp, calculated, and defensive. They have a desperate psychological need to anchor you to the old version of you that lived at $0, because that version was safe for their own fragile egos. Your current reality makes them feel small, so they use memory as a weapon to level the playing field. At this level, the highly coded requests for favors begin to flood your inbox. It is almost never a direct, honest ask for straight cash. Instead, it is an invitation to invest a casual $10,000 into a cousin's revolutionary business idea that currently has no business plan, no revenue, and no market research. It is a frantic request to co-sign a high-interest car loan because you have the perfect credit score for it and it won't cost you anything. This is the ultimate test of your personal boundaries. If you say yes to these requests out of familial guilt, you lose the capital and eventually destroy the relationship anyway when the loan defaults. If you say no upfront with clear boundaries, you lose the relationship immediately. The architecture of your family life becomes deeply political. Every single interaction requires a strategic calculation. You start filtering what you share about your life because you realize that every milestone you celebrate acts as an accidental match that lights someone else's resentment. $500,000. At this stage, you no longer carry the low-grade, ambient anxiety of human survival. Your emergency fund is ironclad, your investments are compounding, and it shows clearly in your physical posture, your vocal tone, and your decisions. Your family reads this specific biological feedback immediately. The defensive bracing is entirely gone from your demeanor. At $500,000, an eerie, quiet reverence settles over the extended family network. The passive-aggressive comments and the cheap micro-slights stop completely because your success is no longer a brief anomaly they can dismiss as lucky timing. It is undeniable. It is structural. The dynamic shifts entirely toward a strange kind of deference. Your parents, who used to dictate your life choices, begin asking your explicit permission for things they don't actually need your permission for. "We were thinking of painting the old house this summer. What do you think of this color?" It is a jarring, uncomfortable role reversal that can mess with your head if you aren't grounded. You have effectively become the functional patriarch or matriarch of the family balance sheet regardless of your chronological age or your birth order. But here is the dark, heavy side of holding $500,000. You are now the designated, structural safety net for the entire bloodline. If a distant aunt falls ill, if a second cousin needs university tuition, if a roof leaks across town during a storm, the collective consciousness of the family automatically routes the financial problem directly to your doorstep. Not because they are inherently greedy or evil people, but because water always flows to the lowest physical point and financial problems always flow to the highest net worth. You are no longer viewed or treated as an individual human being with your own private financial goals, anxieties, and long-term timelines. You are treated as an indestructible public institution. You are the family treasury, and the treasury is expected to remain open during every local crisis. The day your net worth officially crosses 7 figures and hits $1 million or more, you tell absolutely no one in your family circle. You keep the exact numbers locked behind multi-factor authentication and complete silence. But they find out anyway. They don't need to see the brokerage account or the bank statement, but they see the complete and total absence of financial friction in your life. They see the vehicle you drive, the neighborhood you choose to live in, and most importantly, the calm, clinical way you handle a sudden crisis without flinching or raising your voice. The panic is gone from your eyes, and humans can smell the absence of financial panic from a mile away. At $1 million or more, you are completely isolated within your own family ecosystem. You are effectively a different species now. The cousins you used to joke with, share drinks with, and talk about sports with are suddenly highly guarded around your presence. They actively edit their words and filter their jokes before they speak them in your vicinity. The conversations become highly careful, polite, artificial, and drained of real flavor. No one tells you the absolute truth anymore because no one wants to risk offending the single individual who holds the ultimate financial leverage in the lineage. The requests for help transform entirely from casual favors into formal business pitches. They treat you like a seasoned venture capitalist who happens to share 25% of their DNA. The family gatherings you used to love for their warmth feel exactly like high-stakes networking events where you are the only high-net-worth client in the room. You catch people looking at you when they think you aren't paying attention, calculating what your wealth could do for their immediate trajectory. The only people who still treat you exactly the same as they did when you were at $0 are the ones who were actually there with you, suffering alongside you when the account was empty. The parents who fed you when you couldn't afford groceries, the sibling who lent you $50 when your rent check was going to bounce. Those specific relationships are the only real, uncorrupted things left in your world. Everyone else is reacting to the number on the screen, not the person who built it. The full arc of personal wealth doesn't change your family's core character, it simply changes their coordinates in direct relation to you. At $0, you are advice to be given. At $30,000, you are relief to be dismissed. At $100,000, you are an asset to be consulted. At $250,000, you are a target for ego alignment. At $500,000, you are an institution to be relied upon. At $1 million, you are a sovereign state to be petitioned. The money did not break your family dynamics. It simply revealed the deep, structural reality of how human beings interact with scarce resources. Build the wealth, secure the freedom, protect your time, but never mistake the superficial deference of the room for the genuine love of the people sitting inside it. Know exactly who was looking at you with respect when the account read absolute zero, and protect those specific individuals above all else. The machine runs on consistency. Give it the consistency.